Hello everyone, Benjamin here with a leveling guide for the Lightning Pally. In this video, I'm going to be covering my recommendations for everything from your stat allocations, skills, subtrees, relics, gear to look for while leveling. Also, I'm going to be covering some of the gear that you want to look for once you've reached level 100 and start pushing your way through Hells. Let's go ahead and start looking at our stats, skills, and subtrees. So for the leveling process, I'm going to recommend that you do a 50-50 split between your int and vitality. You want to make sure that you have enough damage to kill your enemies, but you also want to make sure that you're not out there getting one shot as well. So on our journey to level 100, we're going to be using two skills primarily. We're going to be using Vengeance in the early levels, and then once we hit level 60, we're going to be using Lightning Fury. Now I want to explain the way that these two abilities function a little bit so that you can better understand how to utilize them properly. These are both lightning and physical abilities. They do lightning damage as well as your standard physical attack. So when you look at the actual skill, you'll notice that it lists lightning damage, but it also lists percentage attack damage and attack rating. This is important to note because especially during the leveling process, it really widens our margin of gear availability. We're not going to be as restricted as some other classes, really focusing in on one specific kind of damage type. The other thing of note with this, and as we go through this guide I'm going to explain it a little more in detail, is we need to be aware that if we're not in melee range of the enemy, we're not actually doing the physical damage. So that's important to note. So I'm going to go through and show you guys exactly how we're going to progress our skill tree as you go through and level. So you're going to start with getting a point into Vengeance so that you can, of course, start doing damage. I recommend getting a point into Thunder Shield. Gives you damage reduction against magical damage, and it does lightning damage to enemies that hit you, which is going to happen a lot while you're leveling. So not a bad pickup for a single point. As you can see with my current gear, I'm getting plus 38, which puts me at 10.5% magic damage reduction, which is not bad to pick up. This also lasts for 30 seconds, so it's not a terrible ability to pick up. Continue leveling Vengeance until you hit level 8. I recommend putting a point into Holy Retribution. Mana sustain is a constant problem for Lightning, so being able to gain mana back on kill, even if it's 4, 6, 8, even up to 10 or more mana back per kill, is going to drastically improve our sustain. Now, as you can see, I have a plus 20 to mine, so I'm getting 42 mana back per kill, which really helps with clearing enemies. Okay? Very useful. It's worth the point, especially once you start getting plus to skills on your gear. We're going to continue leveling up Vengeance until we hit 16, get a point into Holy Shock Aura. It's also a synergy. We're going to get the plus bonuses, etc. Does decent damage as well. Max out your Vengeance, and then by the time we hit level 24, make sure you have a point into Ball Lightning and get Eye of the Storm. This is a percentage lightning damage increase, which is going to give us a nice boost in our damage. Now, as we continue, you're going to get to a point where, so right now, we're at level 35. You do want to, once you hit level 30, get a point into Thor's Fury for the attack speed and lightning skill damage. And once we've finished maxing out Vengeance, next we're going to cap out Holy Shock Aura. And the reason why is it is a synergy to Vengeance, but unlike, as you can see, Eye of the Storm gives us attack damage increase, not lightning damage. And that only affects the damage if we actually successfully strike with the melee swing. And we don't want to rely exclusively on damage being dealt when we hit with a melee strike. We want to be able to do damage from a distance as well. So getting that synergy is going to be worth more than Eye of the Storm, especially because the Eye of the Storm increase isn't even 3%. So we're getting a much greater increase out of that synergy. So get your Holy Shock Aura capped out, and then with the remaining points, once we've got that, we're going to go for Lightning Fury. And we're going to use all that up. It's going to be 13 points here, and that's going to get us to level 59. Okay? Once we hit level 60, then we're going to swap our tree over. So now that we've hit level 60, we're going to go through, reset our skills, and we're going to change over to Lightning Fury. And the reason why is because we are going to end up getting access to this major node here, Concentrated Fury, which is basically going to give us an orb that orbits us and arcs lightning to enemies. So we'll actually get an inherent AoE ability out of it, and the damage that we're going to be doing is going to be significantly better. So I'm going to walk you guys through that real quick. So put a point into Vengeance, don't forget your points into Thunder Shield and Holy Retribution. Get your point into Holy Shock, Ball Lightning, Eye of the Storm, and Thor's Fury. Drop down Divine Storm, and cap Lightning Fury. Now, since we're at level 60, we do have some points that we can throw around. What we're going to take and do is we're going to cap out Vengeance, because it gives us the biggest benefit out of all of our synergies. Okay? Then we're going to take and start maxing out Eye of the Storm. Now, unlike maxing out Divine Storm, yes, this does go through and give us attack damage per level, but with the points that we have and the plus to skills that we should be looking at, we are going to see a very significant increase out of Eye of the Storm, and we should be trying to get some melee swings in. So you're going to overall be getting more out of capping Eye of the Storm as a synergy than you will out of Divine Storm, because Divine Storm, it's only going to affect the lightning arc, not the actual physical damage that you're doing. And I'm going to show you later in the video the difference of only hitting with the lightning arc compared to standing in the fray and getting those melee swings. So you're going to start putting your points in to Eye of the Storm and get that capped. So once you've hit level 60, and you see I've got 40 points left, this is what it's going to look like. So Vengeance will be maxed, point in Divine Storm, Lightning Fury will be maxed, point into Thunder Shield, point into Holy Retribution, 1 into Holy Shock, 1 into Ball Lightning, 14 into Eye of the Storm, and a point into Thor's Fury. Now, as you continue, we're going to max out all of our synergies. So Vengeance, Divine Storm, Eye of the Storm are all going to be maxed. And that leaves us with our remaining 15 points in the last levels, and that's going to go into Thor's Fury here. So we get a nice big boost to attack speed and lightning damage when we use that ability. And this is what your level 100 skill tree is going to end up looking like. So now that we have our skill tree set, I'm going to show you guys how we're going to put our sub-trees while you're leveling and where you want it to end up in the end game. So we have 11 points that we're going to utilize in Vengeance before we swap over to Lightning Fury. And we're going to start out with 2 points into Uncontrolled Spike. This is going to increase the amount of lightning bolts that we get that arc from us on Vengeance. This is going to help with our clear. But the first major thing that we want to pick up is Overclock. And what Overclock is going to do is allow us to trigger Vengeance at a range. So we no longer have to be in melee range to trigger it. So as you can see, I'm going to put a point in here. I've got it on, and there's the target dummy. I can now hit him from a distance. And that's going to trigger to all nearby enemies in that range. So it's going to very drastically help with our clear. Okay? We're going to take and put another point into that, and then we're going to sit here and put 5 points into Recharging Strike. This is going to give us a portion of the damage dealt as mana on hit. And as I said before, mana generation for lightning is a constant struggle. This is going to help us with our maintain, especially clearing through the acts. The last 2 points that we get put into Uncontrolled Spike for the additional bolts coming off from Vengeance to help with our clear. And that's going to cover our level 1 to 59 for Vengeance until we swap over to Lightning Fury. So now that we've gone through and hit level 60 and we're swapping over to Lightning Fury, what we're going to take and do is we're going to travel specifically to get Concentrated Fury. This is the main reason that we are swapping over to Lightning Fury. So we're just going to put 2 points along the travel path, Lightning Stasis, Crackling Thunder, Low Resistance, and then our point into Concentrated Fury. Now, we actually have 12 total points to spend here, so we have another 5 points to spend. And I'm going to recommend that you put a point into Maximize Fury. This is going to give the lightning arcs that come off of Lightning Fury a chance to crit, which is very, very nice. Okay, it's going to give us some extra damage. We're actually going to end up putting a few points into this, and we'll get an extra bit of a boost of damage from that. But aside from that, we want to put the remaining points here into low resistance and max that out. Now, you may be questioning, well, why aren't we putting more points into Crackling Thunder? Because we're actually going to get our Lightning Break out of Holy Shock Aura, not out of Lightning Fury, and you can only have one instance of Lightning Break affecting a target at a time. So there's better points that we can put into our Lightning Fury that we don't need to waste on Crackling Thunder. So, as you can see, that's gotten us to 11 points in. What you're then going to take and do is start putting points here into Million Volt Charge. You want to max that out. So we'll put the 5 points in there. It's going to increase our Lightning Fury damage by 60%. Always hit your Concentrated Fury at each of the level milestones, which is 60, 80, and 100. And then the remaining points are going to go into Maximize Fury. So I'm going to show you guys with 1 point here what Lightning Fury is going to do. And we're going to put that on real quick. So as you can see, when I cast it, it does that little ball, and it spins around us 3 times. And as you see, it arcs to the nearby enemy. Now, earlier in the video, I was talking about how when you can, you want to be in the melee fray. So I'm just going to stand here, and I'm going to attack at a distance, and you're going to see on my DPS meter how much damage we're doing. We're going to let that sit for a little bit. And so as you can see, we're sitting around 22 to 24 million DPS. And that's only with the arc lightning hitting. Now we're going to go through and we're going to do that up close in the melee. And as you can see, I'm doing significantly more damage because I'm actually hitting with the melee swing. So when you can safely, you want to make sure that you're in the fray hitting your enemies. You're going to be getting a significant damage boost when you do that. So make sure that when you can, you're in there hitting the enemies. So again, as we go through and level, you're going to finish up the points into Concentrated Fury, and then finish up with Maximized Fury for up to a 9% crit strike chance with the lightning damage, and a 54% critical strike damage boost to that same lightning damage. And this is going to be my recommendation for your Lightning Fury sub-skill tree. Now, the last skill sub-tree that we're going to cover is Holy Shock Aura, and there's 2 major things that we want out of this. We want Rupturing Lightning, which is going to give us our Lightning Break, and we want Friendly Electron Flow, and this is going to give us a stacking lightning damage buff. Okay? So, you would think, oh, we're going to go up the right. I would recommend for a lot of newer players, go up the left. And the reason why is because of Concentrated Aura. Holy Shock Aura now deals increased damage in a cone in front of you. That means that if you are moving around enemies and you're not facing that enemy at all times, your Holy Shock Aura is not triggering on that enemy. That may work for some people. If you want to do it, you can modify it as you see fit. But when you're paying attention to a lot of ground effects, a lot of enemies, sometimes your mouse is not where you need it to be, and you're missing out on that lightning, Holy Shock Aura hitting the enemies that you wanted to hit. So I would recommend we go up the left side. So we'll put, and these are mostly points just for travel, 2 points into Adjusted Fury, 2 into Voltage Increase, cap out Rupturing Lightning for the 75% lightning break. We'll put 2 points here into Conduit. Don't forget to get a point here into Lightning Tether. This is the ability that I do recommend, because what it does is instead of it being an area that it just randomly arcs down to, it now causes your Holy Shock Aura to tether to enemies and constantly tick damage. And every tick of that damage can trigger your Rupturing Lightning. So I recommend doing it that way. again, it makes it to where you don't have to be as focused on keeping them within your area of damage. You don't have to focus as much. It makes life a little bit easier, I've found. Put 2 points here into defensive charge, and again, we're going for friendly electron flow. Cap this out, because you may look at it and go, oh, okay, well, it stacks 15 times for 15% lightning damage increase. No. Friendly electron flow stacks 10 times at 15% lightning damage apiece. So we're actually getting 150% increased lightning damage from this triggering. This is also why some people will ask, oh, why don't you go for Holy Aura? Because friendly electron flow out of Holy Shock Aura gives us way more than Holy Aura does. Way more damage comparatively. So this is my recommendation here for the sub-skill tree, and I'm going to show you guys just really quickly. I'm going to activate my aura, stand here next to him, and you'll see the stacking friendly electron flow. It does only last for 3 seconds, which is short, but look at that 150% lightning skill damage increase. Big, big boost for us there. So that's how I would recommend that you set the sub-skill tree for Holy Shock Aura and your overall sub-skill trees. So now we're going to cover our potions and relics, and these are recommendations that I have for kind of the stats that you're going to look for on your potions. So when it comes to your health potions, what I'm going to recommend is, generally speaking with health potions, you're going to use them in the necessity moments. Oh, I got hit really hard, I need to get my health back. So I would recommend a high percentage of the life regeneration happening instantly. It doesn't have to be 100%, it could be, anything 50 plus is going to make sure that you get that boost in health to help keep you alive. But there's two stats that I recommend on all of your potions, whether they be health or mana potions, and that is the chance to replenish a stack after a monster kill, and stacks regenerate per second. And the reason for that is regardless, so when you're fighting a boss, I'm still getting stacks back, regardless of the situation. So I'm not going to run out of potions unless I'm just chewing them up super quickly. Same thing with the mana. I've got the exact same thing, but the difference with the mana ones is I don't recommend any of the instantaneous mana regeneration. And the reason why is because we want the most out of our stacks, or charges, I should say, of our mana. And as we're going through and using our ability, and you'll see my mana up here dropping, when I hit my potion, oops, generally helps if you have the potion equipped, it well overgrows my usage. And so I can just sit there and pop it as I get low, and I'm utilizing a lot of that regeneration. So I'm utilizing the most of that potion as I am attacking. And so I never quite hit zero, and I never quite cap out. So I'm getting the most out of that potion charge. That's what I would recommend for your potions. You can just, utilize whichever ones that you find until you find ones with the right stats and abilities. For your relics, I'm going to recommend Triforce. The plus to attributes and all resistances are really good. They did nerf the all resistances, but the attributes are still really strong for us. We do get a little bit of a bonus out of strength. Int is really good for us. Vitality is always good. Armor helps with our defense. I'm going to recommend Light Katana for the attack speed. Attack speed is a very big target for our build. We're based around attack speed and lightning / magic skill damage. So getting that boost to attack speed through one of our relics is very nice. Third, we have Holy Bible. Holy Bible is really big. At rank 10, it's going to give us 10 to all attributes and +2 to all skills. Very nice relic. I very much recommend it for most builds. Now, right now, I have Hand Scythe, and that's not the one that I'm going to recommend. What I'm actually going to recommend is the Magic Mushroom. And the reason for that is it gives us all attributes, which we're going to see a greater increase compared to relics like Hand Scythe with the attack speed, which got nerfed this season. So those are going to be my recommendations for your potions and your relics. So now we're going to cover some of the gear that you're going to hopefully find while you're leveling. And we're going to go through piece by piece. I'm going to show you some of the different stuff that I found and used while I was leveling, and these are good pieces, and you're going to notice some consistencies in the gear. So realistically, as a lightning pally, there's 3 things that you're going to want to focus on while you're leveling, okay? And that is attack speed, lightning slash magic skill damage, and sustain, okay? Lifesteal, mana steal, life after kill, mana after kill, etc. Resistances are always good, but it's generally going to be pretty tough to get your resistances up unless you're very lucky. Um, I happened to find this Satanic Eye Ring with 29 all res, which is a huge find early on. So most people will not cap their reses while they're leveling. If you can, awesome. It's going to be super hard for the enemies to kill you, but generally it's going to be difficult. So we're going to look through our weapons here. Early on, we have a War God's Lance, attack speed, attributes, decent damage on that. Then we move on to Sanguine Blade. And again, you'll notice attack speed, we have some life stolen, we have attack rating, good damage. And then we move on to Sand Crusader's Scimitar. And again, you'll notice attack speed, mana steal, stuff like that. For our shield, we started out with Thunderburn Aegis, level 12. It's got lightning skills, it's got lightning skill damage, all res, really nice shield. Then we move on to Spellbinder's Mage Barrier. All skills, magic skill damage, mana after kill, with some sockets. Then we move on to Storm Gladiator's Wall. And Storm Gladiator's Wall gives us lightning skills, lightning skill damage, and all res. And I socketed an for some extra resistances and some Erts for extra lightning skill damage. But that's going to be a very nice shield if you can find that. I also forgot to show you guys my Mjolnir at level 53. 4-socket, one-handed weapon. I made mine out of an axe that I found. This is your target weapon until you can get your heroic weapon, okay? This weapon right here, you can do Mevius on Hell 5 and kill him if you're geared correctly. And I will actually show you guys that at the end of the video. Next, we're going to move on to our body armors, okay? So I have a couple of different lower-end options. Black Knight Carapace, really good defense on it, and physical and magical damage taken reduction. Can be very handy, help keep you alive. The same thing here, Ward Breaker, not as high on the defense, but all resistances. Very good to help keep us alive. Moving on, we have Astropos. This is one of the early rune words that we can make. It's specifically based around lightning. As you can see, all skill, lightning skill, mana regeneration, lightning skill damage minus to enemy lightning resistance. Really good for damage, and can be made super early. This is arguably one of the best leveling chess pieces that I could recommend, Heaven's Might. The level requirement is not actually level 74. That's because of the jewels and runes that I put in it. But this thing is huge. Really high defense, 2 to all skills, and up to 15 to all... physical and magical damage taken, and up to 6 sockets. Really big. It can actually roll up to 4 to all skills. I found this on a vendor for 70k. So, really lucky find. If you can find one, it's going to make it very difficult for enemies to kill you. For helms, we're going to go early on. Bloodthirster's Warhelm is a very good one. Life Steal, Life After Kill, and a life bonus. Very handy early on. Warlord's Fury is a great mid-leveling helm. Attack speed, life steal, mana after kill, plus attack rating. Really good, plus some movement speed, which is handy for us. This is ideally where you want to end up, a Delirium. It's 2-socket helm with 2 Vexes. If you can find a plus skill base, even better. This can roll up to +8 to all skills. This is a huge boost in our damage. Plus it has mana stolen per hit, which means you don't have to focus on Mana Steel on your other pieces of gear. Now, moving on to belts. Early on, a Belt of War, if you can find one, really, really good. Up to 12% lifesteal, enhanced damage, and up to 5 all attributes. Really good early on. Storm's Dawn. Up to 20% lightning skill damage and up to 10 minus to enemy lightning resistance. Really big damage boost if you find one of those. Moving further on, you can choose, if you find one or the other, they're really good. Crystal Belt, 1 to all skills, up to 15 all attributes, up to 20 all res. Or if you find a Sun Wukong's Belt, 1 to all skills, Vitality, life based on level, and up to 15 all res. Really, really good. Rings are going to be very difficult early on. Again, if you can find a Satanic Eye, it rolls up to 30 all res. Huge, huge resistance ring if you can find one. Plus the magic damage taken reduction is really nice. A Ring of Talus isn't a bad one to get. 1 to skills, replenish mana, and life percent. A little bit of extra health, never hurt anyone. Another one that's a decent one to find is Sanguine Bloodstone. Life steal, life replenish, and flat life. Again, extra health is always a good thing to have. Gloves is another one that's going to be kind of tricky to find a decent pair. If you find a Rapid Caster mitts, these are really good. Up to 15% attack speed and up to 10% magic skill damage is pretty good. Ideally, you want to find a pair of Titan Static Guards. Titan Static Guards are huge for us. Attack speed, additive lightning damage adds to the melee swing, not to the skill, but it's up to 1800 additive lightning damage on the melee hit, which isn't bad. Up to 30% lightning skill damage is huge. So you can get some really good damage out of these pair of gloves. And that's arguably what you're going to use, unless you find a really good mythic pair. That's what you're going to use until you get through to your heroics. And then for boots, I've gone through and selected, we have Aetherflow treads, movement speed, lightning skill, damage with some life. Boots of Blood, which have lifesteal and vitality and life. And then tribal boots, which is arguably where I would say you want to go up until you can make a pair of Ether Walks or another rune word for the all resistances. Now, early on, when it comes to making your rune words, it's going to be kind of tricky because it's going to be based on what rune words you actually find. Ether Walk is a really good one. I actually picked this up on the auction house, already rolled with lightning, for 100k. So really, really cheap. The other rune words that you could go through and do early on is Quickstep, 2-socket pair of boots, Yimdel, easy to find, attack speed, life and mana steal. Not a terrible decision either. So it really just comes down to kind of what you find and what runes you have. But those are the pieces of gear that I would recommend while you're leveling. These are going to be useful items to help just get you through to hell to where you can start farming your heroics. Also, I forgot to show you guys amulets. Sorry about that. So a couple of amulets that I found as I was leveling. Rabbit Shell Medallion, attack speed with some vitality, pretty decent little amulet to find. Gambler's Demise, strength, int, and life. It can roll really good on int. Int is our primary for damage, so not a bad one to find. Storm Pendant, up to 2 lightning skills and up to 18 lightning skill damage is not bad. This is the one that I really recommend. If you can get a hold of one, it's very, very nice. Elder's Heart, attack rating with 15 all attributes and 20 all resistances. This is a really big piece while you're leveling, and it's going to be very helpful as you get yourself to 100. So now that we've got ourselves to level 100, we're obviously going to start trying to look for heroics and more endgame gear items. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys what endgame items I recommend you start hunting for. Okay, and a fair amount of them I already have. I'm still working on a couple of them. So this right here, the Sekopui Muri, most people just refer to it as a Murray. This is your best in slot weapon. Rolled correctly with the right stats, it is hands down the best weapon for a lightning pally. Obviously, you want it to have the 5 all skills, 100% increased attack speed, high lightning skill damage, and 4 sockets. but whatever you can get it. It's basically the Mjolnir weapon, just better in every way. For the armor, we want the Thunder Guardian's plate. I actually found this one. It's a really, really good roll. One of the main things that you want is the chance on striking for Symphony of Thunder. This gives you a percentage lightning damage buff, and I believe it caps out at 80%. I mean, this is a huge buff. This chest piece is major for our damage. But again, it gives us a lot of the good stuff that we want. It gives us lightning skills, lightning skill damage, minus to enemy lightning resistances, all resistances, and sockets. So very good armor for you to try and chase after. These are probably your first two items that you want to chase, is your Murray and your Thunder Guardian's plate. For shield, I recommend making a Justice. Try and get a plus all skills base shield, 3-socket shield. It's a Drax, a Zed, and a Sir. It's going to give us plus to all skills, movement speed, attributes, magic skill damage, reduced magic damage taken, and a huge boost to our all resistances. Mine rolled 75 to all res, and that's really the gain here with this particular shield, is you're going for the all skills and the resistances. A nice high resist shield can really alleviate pressure on your other pieces of gear, so I very much recommend it. For the helm, we want deliriums, and ideally you want to find a plus 5 base and roll a plus 8 on it to end up with 13 to all skills. It's going to be very difficult to beat that until we get to Inferno and get access to some of the more higher end rare items. Now, the necklace that I have is just a Pendant of Eternity. It's what I found, but what we actually want for our necklace is the Eagle Claw off of Possessed Luna. And the reason we want it is for the chance when attacking to get Live by the Sword. And this gives us a 40 up to, I forget what the range on it is, but it gives us a nice attack speed boost. As well as giving us up to rank 25 of Enraged Mania, and that's a passive that gives us area effect and attack speed. Plus it rolls attack speed on it with lifesteal. And it can roll a socket, which we can then put a angelic gem into for a +1 skill. So this is definitely our target amulet right here that we want to go for. Next up is our belt, and we're going to go for Set's Lightning Sash when we first start getting into the health difficulties. Chance when attacking to deal extra lightning damage. The lightning break doesn't matter because we're getting better lightning break out of our Holy Shock aura, but lightning damage, lightning skills, it's just a solid little belt that we can pick up while we're working through hell. Our rings, we're going to want 2 tectonic frequencies. These can roll up to 30% lightning skill damage, up to 20 to minus enemy lightning res. You want these to roll as high as possible so that you make sure you hit that ignore lightning resistance on enemies. You want that at 100%. That's a big boost in your damage, and that's one of the ways that we do that is these tectonic frequencies. Our gloves, obviously we're going for tectonic grips, all skill, lightning skills. Thunder Goddess is chosen is a passive that gives us attack rating and lightning skill damage. You want that as high as you can get it. They also roll lightning skill damage increase and minus to enemy lightning res. This is probably, I would say, third on your list. You want your Murray Thunder Guardian's plate, and then probably tectonic grips is third. Lastly is our boots. Now, like I said, I picked up this pair of Ether Walks for like 100k on the auction house. Someone just put that up there real cheap, real quick upgrade buy. The ideal one that we want early on while we're leveling is Crush Fleet with a plus lightning skills roll on the boots. And the reason we want this is for the chance when striking to trigger agility. And this is going to give us attack speed and movement speed. And that can roll, I believe, up to level 22, which gives us like 45% attack speed and movement speed. Plus they roll really good with the all skill. Physical skill also affects our Vengeance and Lightning Fury, so we do get a benefit out of physical skills. And then the Mana Steel is good. The Deadly Blow, Crushing Blow, is not bad when we are in the fray hitting with melee strikes. We do get a little benefit out of that, not a ton, but these are ideally the boots that we want to go for. And so those are the items that I would say you want to try and focus to when you first start getting into Hell and start farming for your heroics. So I also wanted to cover for you guys charms, and early on charms can be kind of difficult. I recommend an Adventurer's Quiver for the attack range, attack speed, Raider's Torch for attack speed. Hardened Steel Defender isn't a bad one for the life percent. Survivability is good. The Crow's Feather that we get from the quests in normal while leveling is a decent little item to pick up early on. And a Witch's Claw is really good. One to all skills with some mana steal and mana after kill. Helps with our mana production. But realistically, early on, stacking lightning skill damage is not a bad thing. You want lightning skill damage, not additive lightning damage. So just to give you an idea, if we look at the tooltip on here, you'll see that Lightning Fury, without my charms equipped, has 169,000 listed damage. And as I go and put all of these back in, we're going to jump. So it was 169,000. And these are all, you'll see I've got some that are 18, 13, 20. I've even got one of them that's 36. So we went from 169,000 to 208,000 by equipping those. So I gave myself a 40,000 damage on the tooltip boost from those charms. And they're early, just whatever you happen to find, it's just extra damage. So right there, those charms going in, I gave myself a 25% damage increase. Okay? That's not bad. There are better gems out there. Once I start getting some more, I'll probably give more recommendations. But a lot of them are really expensive, hard to find. Of course, Chaos Gemstone, Anvil, Tablet of Awakening, Loaded Dice, Fulgurite, Torch Shadows, Air Melon, a lot of the more heroic, hard to find stuff. So it's hard for me to sit here and go, hey, these are the ones that you want. I just haven't gotten very many of them. Anubis Ankh Charm isn't a bad one as well. The life and life percent is good for survivability. Spine Trophy isn't terrible to use for a little bit, because again, we do get benefits out of the physical skills, and the attack rating isn't terrible to get. But other than that, most of the charms that we're going for are all heroic, harder to find ones. So those are really what we're looking for. But until you get to those, plus lightning skill damage charms actually help us pretty significantly. So I would recommend those. So as I said at the beginning of the video, I wanted to go through and show you guys that with no heroics on, Paladin is capable of killing Mevius on Hell 5. As you can see, I'm on Hell 5, no heroics in, nothing on my weapon swap here. And I want to show you guys that it is capable. So we're going to get Mevius down here. Now I should be doing a little bit better on my mobility, but of course I'm recording this, so of course I'm being dumb. Almost got him to that transition. Halfway mark. There we go. Now comes the fun part. So as you guys can see, Mev is not terribly difficult. I know some people, it's concerning. He can hit kind of hard, but as you can see, with good defenses in place, it's just wearing him down. And there we go. That is Mevius, Hell 5, 0 heroics. Not too terribly difficult, takes a little bit of time, but don't worry, I believe in you. You can get it done. Get yourself out there into Hell 5, get your gear, get blasting, and yeah, good luck out there, guys. I want to thank everyone for watching. Please make sure, like, follow, subscribe, all that stuff. Go ahead and leave a comment if you'd like. Be sure to check me out live, twitch.tv/Benderton. For any questions, you can see how my progress is going with Lightning Pally. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, game on.